So in this video, I want to talk a little bit about the COLA increase and why more is needed, because this 5.9% increase is just not enough. And I think people who are receiving this COLA for Social Security, SSI, SSDI, veterans, they're going to let you know, look, this is not enough. We need more. I also want to talk a little bit about where we are with the first infrastructure bill and that stimulus package, or that second infrastructure bill. So that's what we're going to focus on today. But first off, on this channel, we talk about news that matters. If that sounds like something interesting to you, please subscribe to the channel and hit that little bell notification. That way you'll get notified anytime we put out a video. And like always, if you see my name and a picture of me in the comment section, make sure you also see a check mark next to my name. If you see that check mark, it's me. If you do not see that check mark, it's not me. It's someone trying to impersonate me. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is the first infrastructure bill and that second infrastructure bill. That second infrastructure bill is what we're all focused on right now, and the White House is holding these different meetings right now with the progressives and the moderates, and even Senator Sinema will be meeting with the president today. So this is something that we've been waiting for. We've been waiting to see what's going to happen, how these negotiations are going to unveil. But everyone's focused on the second infrastructure bill, but we still have that first infrastructure bill, the hard infrastructure bill that's out there right now. And that one has already been approved by the Senate. And that's the sad part. It's been approved by the Senate. It's sitting in the House. They are waiting to hash out the details in that second infrastructure bill, and then they can vote on both bills and send them to the president at the same time. So that's the plan right now. Now, as far as what's in that second infrastructure bill, we're not entirely sure exactly what will remain in that second infrastructure bill. The child tax credit right now is on the table, so they want to make it more targeted. At least Senator Manchin wants to make it more targeted, so we might see some less people receiving the child tax credit. We're also looking at climate change. That's something else that Senator Manchin has some issues with, so we might see some changes when it comes to that. When we look at the second infrastructure bill, that blueprint, it will change. We know that already. We know that top line number is not going to be 3.5 trillion. It's probably going to be more along the neighborhood of 2 trillion or maybe even 1.5 trillion if Senator Manchin has his way. So I'm going to make sure to follow this story and let you guys know exactly what's going on when it comes to the first infrastructure bill and the second infrastructure bill. Okay, so now I want to talk about the COLA increase. So we know that the COLA increase is 5.9%. Let me pull up my chart here so you guys can take a look. So we're looking at 5.9% increase, and that is the Social Security Administration. They announced this on the 13th. And so I posted a video then, but I did have some people that still had some questions, so I just want to make sure I address those questions. So if you guys ever have questions, just put it in the comment section, and if I see enough people are asking the same question, I will go ahead and do another video on the topic. So 5.9%, that raise will come into effect January 2022. Okay, so it's not going to be anything that's going to affect us right now. It won't affect people receiving Social Security until January of 2022. This is the largest increase in 40 years. So that's something that's important to know. But we're seeing inflation at a very, very high number. And so that's the reason why we're seeing this high COLA. Okay, so just understand that the cost of living adjustment it's tied to inflation. So if inflation's high, then the cost of living adjustment will go up there as well. Now, this affects 70 million Americans, so 70 million Americans are receiving Social Security or SSI, SSDI. They will benefit from this COLA increase, as well as veterans. So something that not everyone knows, but when it comes down to it, yes, 70 million Americans will be affected by this cost of living adjustment. All right, the average retired person on Social Security receives $1,565. Now, this is the average person. This is not everyone who's receiving Social Security. Now, the 5.9% would increase benefits by $92, and that would boost benefits up to $1,657. So that is on an average. Now, when I did the video before, I said that it was on an average, but people were still saying, well, that doesn't that doesn't apply to me. Well, it's not going to apply to everyone. They're just averaging it out. So you can do the math on this, use that 5.9% and add that to what you receive every month, and then that will give you what you'll be receiving starting in January of 2022. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about, this increase is not a raise. So the reason that I say that is because when we hear raise, we hear, if you're working on a job and you receive a raise, it's not really tied to anything but your performance or the time that you've been working in a certain job. But when it comes to an increase, this increase, as we stated, it's tied to inflation. So if inflation rises, then this cost of living adjustment will rise as well. And this is an adjustment. Okay, so they're adjusting this based on the fact that when you go to the grocery store and you buy a carton of milk, that milk that was $3 is now maybe $3.10. And so they're adjusting, they're making those adjustments according to that. And so you're really not in a position where you have extra money. You just have an increase to your Social Security benefits, and that increase just offsets the inflation that's there. Now, one of the things when it comes to inflation, and they've been talking about this, you've had some economists talk about this, the Biden administration has also been mentioning this. They think that this inflation that we're seeing is a temporary inflation. They think that eventually it will go back down. We are seeing some signs of that, just based on some of the things that are inflated right now. We're talking about used cars and new cars, and we know that the chip manufacturers there's a backlog when it comes to receiving these chips that they need for these vehicles. So that means that there are less vehicles out there to purchase. And if the demand is there, which the demand is there, now we're looking at a situation where the prices of those vehicles are going to go up because people want to buy them, but they're not available. And so we're looking at situations like that. Now, once we start working on the supply chain and getting the chips that they need for vehicles, and also just in Long Beach right now in the port in California, they have products that are sitting at sea right now because the ships can't get into sea to drop off these products, and these ships are sitting offshore, and that's causing a delay when it comes to the products that you want to buy. And because of that, the cost of everything is going up, and so everything becomes inflated because there's still that demand. People still want to buy these products. However, we can't get the products to the consumer fast enough. And so I think there are some situations where this is temporary. Now, the good news when it comes to the cost of living adjustment is it's 5.9%. If we could get to a point where the stuff that's inflated right now goes back down to the price that it was prior to the inflation, well, that cost of living adjustment is going to stay the same. So it's still going to be at 5.9%. And what the Biden administration is doing is they're opening up the ports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That way they can get all this merchandise in so we can get to the stores so consumers can buy it. And hopefully that will drop that inflation, the inflated prices that we're seeing in some of these products, it will drop them down. And so to wrap this up, when it comes down to inflation, I think in certain situations, especially the situations that we're seeing with some of these products, I think it is temporary. And I think we'll be in a better situation in maybe 6 months from now when we'll look back and say, okay, now the supply chain, there's no bottleneck, and these products they're in the stores. But right now, there are a lot of these products that are not in the stores. So I want to know what you guys think about all this, so let me know down below. We're going to continue to follow the negotiations, and hopefully we'll have some breakthrough information when it comes to this second infrastructure bill, because everyone is watching this and they're focused on the second infrastructure bill. We know what the blueprint looked like, and now we know that they are going to have to make some adjustments, so we'll definitely follow that. And if you have any other questions about the cost of living adjustment, please post them down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one.